milliardaires de promotion Madame Turleman. Et aussi un message important. Go, Abs, go!
We move to the Middle East next, and the United Arab Emirates and Saudi Arabia have been accused of being involved in a recent land offensive in Yemen. However, the UAE denies these claims. UAE Assistant Minister Lana Nashabah calls the reports wild, unsubstantiated stories and labelled them misleading news of the week. Additionally, the Wall Street Journal reported that Yemeni factions are allegedly planning a ground offensive along the Red Sea coast, possibly with support from US airstrikes against the Houthis. These strikes, which have been ongoing for a month, have focused on targeting Houthi military assets. Despite these tensions, Saudi Arabia's previous shift towards peace talks in 2022 raises questions about future involvement. With the ongoing US military operations and the Houthis' persistent threats to maritime security, the stakes are high. Moving on now, Russian President Vladimir Putin met with Russian nationals freed from captivity in Gaza following the October 2023 Hamas attacks on Israel. In a statement, Putin talked about Russia's long-standing diplomatic relations with Palestinians were key to securing their release. During the meeting, Putin spoke with Alexander Truvanov, who was held hostage for nearly 500 days. Putin thanked Hamas for their role in facilitating the humanitarian release. Let's take a listen in to what he said.
Я думаю, нужно выразить слова благодарности руководству политическому руководству Хамас за то, что они.
Truvanov, who was joined by his family, thanked Putin for his efforts and called for the continued release of all remaining hostages, referring to them as brothers. Putin reassured that Russia would continue to do everything possible to ensure the safe return of those still in captivity. We move over to the United States once again, where Italian Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni has met with President Donald Trump at the White House ahead of her meeting to ease tensions over US tariffs on European goods and position herself as a bridge between Washington and Brussels. Reports suggest that Meloni is walking a tightrope between her ideological affinity to the US president and her ties with European allies who have criticised Trump's tariff hikes and his decision to exclude the EU from talks with Russia to end the war in Ukraine. Since Trump's trade war with the bloc began, Meloni has urged Brussels not to retaliate and has looked to maintain ties with the US leader. However, previously she had also criticised his 20% duties on exports from the European Union as wrong. According to reports, there is a possibility that Meloni could end up in a trap similar to the White House meeting in February with Ukrainian leader Volodymyr Zelensky, in which Trump and his Vice President J.D. Vance berated his guests in front of reporters. Well, that's all we have time for. We will continue to bring you more news updates from around the world.